राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री 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 राम जय राम जय जय राम
Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram. Yes. Interactive session continues. Starting trouble is still there.
You are able to hear?
Yes.
Hariom Swamiji.
Hariom.
Preparatory materials are a bit classified into four groups.
Preparatory.
To be aware of the God traits. Then to think over or ponder over. Sadhana, daily practice. And in each category, 7 to 8 points are there. Want to know what is Ram stands for. Then subdue me and mine. Connect Ram with the spirit. We, the individuality, sense of individuality, and Ram, all-pervading reality and indwelling reality. And to rely on Guru and Swami Nityananda. And I have the right concept of Bhakti used by Mataji and Abhay Ram in general by Puja Bapaji. Spiritual disciplines, the word understanding spiritual disciplines or worldly achievements. This is the first preparation step. Become aware of God traits. Think over or ponder over our origin and world's origin. Jnanottara Bhakti or Parabhakti. Very important. And to have the simultaneity, equality over all division society. If got any idea, we should be form or governing. As Papa started, we have to start the journey, not from where Papa ended it. As far as sadhana is concerned, God thought to be held in with mind space. And meditative chanting. Chanting is the password for going with it. Silence to be maintained, to have presence with it. There should be a satsang outside as well as inside our mind. Solitude, if possible, should be periodical and it's a must. Originality in prayer and a thrust should be given on it. Include the expansion or expansion, exclusiveness in spiritual pursuit. As a daily practice is concerned, we must have positive approach and not a negative one. We should have gratitude towards God and His creation. Whenever any trying situations are met with, we must consider it as a test for us. We should be truthful and honest in every aspect. Second. A non-judgmental approach, that is, give space to others. We must have self-imposed discipline as far as possible. Contentment and simple living habits must be developed. Have dialogue always, and it should be regular. So, some of bottom it has been there. In detail, we can go through. Hello.
So in this in-depth study of IQG, among what all we have now heard, suppose we pick one and try to understand it well. For example, we should start from where Papa started and not where Papa reached. What does it mean? Why did he give us that thought?
He started 1920, and 38 years only he has gone through as a medical. And no doubt, after having his initiation from his father, Guru, till the end he had a certain man, all kinds of experiences in different places, and also came to, but he had a strong belief on it, that Mama as well as daughter, suitable advice to let us. And then he will be following
Anything else from anybody?
Relying on inner Guru for everything. That's Papa says. Our Guru is inside. God is within us. Rely on Him. Inner Guru.
That is right. No, we were just mentioning, when we say that we should start from where Papa started, instead of where from he reached it, what exactly it means to us,
Intense aspiration.
I need to think about it.
Intense aspiration அவருக்கு முதல்ல இருந்தே
Intense aspiration, yes.
பகவான் பண்ண வைக்கிறாங்கிற அந்த ஃபீலிங் அவருக்கு ரொம்ப
He had a firm conviction that God is helping in all situations. No anxiety, no fear, Papa. No worry about the future.
No, I think we have not made our question clear. When we say that we should start from where Papa started, rather than start from where he reached, why do we say so? What do we mean by that? The moment we come to Anandashram for the first time, we see the charming figure of Papa in the Bell Hall. And in that, that was taken many years after. If we remember right, when we asked Puja Swamiji when it was taken, then he said it was done by Natulal Bhai in Bombay. Papa used to sit there. After Papa dropped the body, the thought came that exactly it should be like that. And so the moment we all come for the first time, we feel he himself is sitting there. Okay. But that photo does not link us to his starting point. We feel Papa having reached the summit, full of bliss. That no doubt was the first push that gave us. But suppose we got stuck there, we would not have had the privilege of traveling with him when he started his spiritual journey. So the advantage is that if we are in a position to start along with him, the first thing that comes to our mind is that he was also like all of us. He was born to a parent. He was brought up like all of us. He had his educational career. He had his professional career. He was also a grihastha. He was subjected to go through trials, tests, challenges, duties, like all of us. But what is it that makes him to stand apart? Then we start thinking. Then we realize, previously it was very difficult to realize. Now having gone through it again and again for the past 5-6 months, probably many of us or most of us are clear that in his case, God has been extremely gracious enough to make him know that his life's mission is something different. And he started going towards that. We may call it a sadhana, spiritual journey, this and that. But to him, it was very, very clear that his life is drafted for something noble, something higher than what we all need. So the first and foremost thing is that the grace first, and because of the grace, we don't want to become one with the common run of life. Common run of life everybody has got. What is it that stands out? Swami Vivekananda used to put it bluntly. You must leave a milestone before you leave the world. No? Everybody is born, everybody exists, everybody dies. But here no. God chooses His chosen instruments to leave a milestone after they leave. In our case, we have seen even our parents or grandparents or great-grandparents, we remember only to some extent. Though we were not directly connected with their life, they were directly or indirectly responsible for many of the values which we cherish, many of the things that we have got, many of the things we named as culture, all those things have been passed on to us by them. But do we remember them? And if we ourselves don't remember, how do we expect others to remember them? So that means, along with leading a normal life, there should be an urge, I should become yours. And whoever have done this, that my life should become utterly yours, they have left a milestone. That is why they are still a source of inspiration to many. So the purpose of going through their life from where they started, we suddenly become aware. Then we pray to Him, why don't you please make me aware of this? You made me to go along with the common run of life. Childhood, all the attractions for the childhood were there. And then we moved from there to student life. And from student life to the youth life, where professional career stepped in, and where we wanted to have a family, set up a family. And then after that there was a flow. But what did he do? He also had a wife and child. Even when God gave him an opportunity to relieve him from the mounting liabilities and various other challenges at the professional level, when he gave relief to a friend, God did not allow him to be satisfied with that. No? Because he was convinced that his life is meant for something, not this. So the first and foremost lesson, when we say that we should start from where he started, not from where he reached or ended, not ended, reached. And what all he did, it was not a cakewalk. Along with practicing so many things, most important, yes. We are now going through the different categories under this 4 categories. What did we say that? Preparatory, from the preparatory to the daily practice. If we don't go along with it, with the right spirit, it becomes an academic exercise. Whereas in Papa's case, another lesson he teaches when we travel with him right from beginning. He did not follow anything. in the traditional way. First learning something and then trying to live up to the concepts. Concepts developed in the process of learning. No. You were very clear right from the beginning what is to be scaled. And he did not follow any traditional method. Every move from him was immediately connected to God within. That is the only thing. The traditional way of learning Vedas, Shastras, Shankarabhashyas, Upanishads, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, or in the Bhakti culture we find Puranas, Shlokas, glories of the Lord, bhajans. Papa did not take it up seriously on any of these. They were there. But he was very, very clear that everything is actuated by him, and we should always not lose sight of this. Never allow the intermediary, the me, to take over. And after reaching the stage, he started sharing. Later, which came out in the form of books. Unfortunately, we follow the reverse. But the only thing that is different from the traditional approach in ashram is Nama is there. This is very, very important. So we request all of you to kindly deeply think over it. Otherwise, we might again slip into the academic exercise. Here the academic, the books came out because of the outcome of his sadhana. Not that first we equip ourselves with theories, dictums, revelations, wisdom teachings, and then we form concepts and we try to live. Maybe that is another method. But here, we are not telling that the method is wrong or right. But here the uniqueness in the proposal is, there is no such thing. Even his reliance on God was total. Every time he was trying to connect himself with that, and then he scaled the heights. After scaling the heights, whenever somebody asked, he shared. And either he or somebody was kind enough to jot down, and later on it came out in the form of books. We started from books. Even today, many of these books are inspiring to us, because that is how we have trained our mind. And to be honest, nowadays we started realizing that probably that was why we could not proceed much. Because in the mind library, storage, all those things are there kept. Thus speaks Ramdas, glimpses of the divine mission, words of Swami Ramdas, in quest of God, at the feet of God, in the vision of God, world is God, lectures of Swami Ramdas, Ramdas talks, God experience 1 and 2, like that one. Gospel. So all these books, the moment we come to ashram, we with all enthusiasm we buy this, and then in one go we complete it. And there's a lot of joy. When somebody refers anything from that, we immediately say, this is from that, this is from this is from that, this is from that. To what extent we have been able to live up to it. So in a way that this will help us. When we know, when we are trying to understand from where he started and where we should not start from where he reached, probably this aspect will become clearer and clearer to us. Or in other words, we can say Papa has provided not only the method, but also the rationale behind the method. And so our progress should have been faster. But actually we would find that somewhere something is halting us. So again we go back from where we started. This perseverance, commitment, unwavering faith, and a sustaining aspiration to connect himself with the reality both inside and outside. Sustain. Anybody would like to share anything about all this? When Papa was not relying on any external factors, we should know that he approached everything with a contemplative mind, including Namacharya, that is a meditative journey. So, not relying on external factors, how he was able to get the guidance from within? There was an inner urge in him. God gave him an inner urge to plumb deep within and bring out. That is why in the first chapter itself we will find the word electric influence. The young plant of Bhakti in Ram was thus nurtured in the electric atmosphere created by the influence of these great men. When we were translating into different languages, we were finding it difficult to translate. And we were finding it extremely difficult to understand. Generally, in a contextual meaning, we have got it now. But later on, suddenly, Papa reminded, Papa is well in Vishnu. We will not use a word if it is not needed. Then he went to the dictionary and found out electric means thrilling. So the books, when he started reading, he was getting thrilling experience. So then immediately we look back, do we get that thrill? Which leaves an indelible impression in our mind. And slowly it helps us to go within, deeper and deeper and deeper. Not to give a lecture to somebody. That inward journey got hastened because of this. That is why he was able to give a definition to the mantra he said, Om Shri Ram Jaya Jaya. Everything came, in depth study. If he uses the word meditation, he will give a definition because of his experience. If he talks about Nama chanting, he will give what Nama stands for. But everything has come out from his own inward journey, inner experience. So when we say that we should start from where Papa started, it covers the whole. And when we deeply think about it, what did I do? Or what I am doing?
Papa started it was 99.99% right speed up. But nevertheless, we are not even 10% right speed up, so how can we start that now?
Immediately we remember his own words, Each one of us has been given a particular job by him. So he may have his own reasons Why he did not adopt the same procedure in us? So now we are asking him, now that you have made known to us that how he started, why don't you please provide me with such a thing? Instead of telling, the whole perspective changes, We are not responsible for the life so far lived. If we arrogate that we are the responsibility, we will never be able to know the truth at all. So right from now we start feeling. When we were reading this Bhagavad Gita, then only it became a little clear. Because when he says, Matta Smriti Jnanam Apohanam, no? Smriti Jnanam Apohanam is given by him. So he may have his own reason why he made us not to remember. So we are now not complaining to him. We are telling him now, you have now made us aware of the urgency in connecting myself to you, which fact probably I have not given so much importance because you did not prompt me. Now why don't you please, having touched and kindled in my heart, why don't you please hasten my progress? We are not asking anything else. We don't want God realization, we don't want mukti, we don't want nirvana. We only want to see that He is making me to talk, He is making me to think, He is making me to see, He is making me to hear, like that. He is making me to breathe. So we keep on asking. We are not asking big things. The simple thing. That which is behind all our activities, why don't you please make us aware of it? This is what you did during your sadhana. You made us to get preoccupied with so many things. And of course you had affection for us, that's why you kept on talking to us. And then at that time you did not make us to listen. Now you have made us to listen.
Yes.
So now let us not waste any more of our time. Somehow during the day you make us to connect your presence with us, that's all. In a simple form we are putting it. Nothing else we need. You have made us aware, intellectually aware, that you are there within us. You have to make it now experiential. So when we go through all these 30 points or 24 points, we are now reduced to 24 points, 4 into 6. The idea is not to bring so many points. One point may take us to the goal. Of various points when we touch, one point will take us to the goal. That is enough. Because that will cover the whole thing. That is the beauty of the spiritual text. Though we may be outwardly thinking that we separate, ultimately, it touches everything. One point is enough to touch everything.
Link between one and the other. Link between one and the other.
Link between one and the other.
It is there.
Yes.
Because everything has come from one truth. Though our approach may be different. When once we start plumbing deep into one particular point, that will get us connected with the core of this thing and also to the various outer expressions. So we request everybody to please think about this one, of all the things we have heard now. You should start from where he started, not from where he reached. So that particular photo, Inquest of God photo, that gives us a clear-cut idea of the severest tapas, he went through. Today we are prostrating, we are placing our flowers on his lotus feet, but that lotus feet has become a lotus feet because of the various self-discipline he imposed on himself. So many dimensions are there in the particular. So let us try. This is only to ensure that nothing slips into an academic exercise. Like that, any other point that comes for anybody? One point.
Swamiji, surrender is supreme grace. Every diamond throughout the rest of God, that is one salient point and stuff.
Salient point throughout, yes. Surrender, surrender. There also the problem we are facing. We have formed some concepts about surrender. And that distances from making it a reality. So let us try to use the method Papa used. He used episodes. To understand this, because these are impersonal. We cannot show to somebody this is called surrender. We can put it in so many words as well. Because surrender is an experience. So the best way is, now that we have been to a very great extent equipped with the theoretical part, we will now try to parade before our mind such of the episodes or experiences God has given us to watch, to observe, where the surrender is explicit. So we understand what this is surrender. Yesterday we were telling, you remember, about the contentment, about that lady. Easy for us to understand. When we say we give space to others, we remember the teacher in the rowdy class.
Class of rowdies.
Class of rowdies. It becomes very clear to us. What did she do? It was not to give it a different direction. When she followed like everybody who followed, she couldn't. But next day she thought about it. We have also come from that student life. Each one is potential. And these people have got that extra energy that comes out in the form of these negative aspects, which we name it. Why not we channelize those so-called labeled negative trend to a positive trend? The next day she goes and said, from today onwards I will not take class, you will take class. Immediately the question comes, any subject? Immediately anything under the sky. We gave them freedom. Such the children cannot be made to initially condition them within the framework of a curriculum or a syllabus. So when this freedom was given, the capabilities which were lying dormant in them started coming out in a beautiful way, And the last portion, the one will be in tears, one student, and she expressed how the teacher had changed. When everybody gave us up, you did not give us up, that word. Everybody wrote us off. We are good for nothing, rowdies. You did not do that. So wherever you are, wherever we go, we will remember you. That touched our hearts. A noble value, instead of giving a lecture, it touches our heart. During our interaction with students under the reset and vital program, in many places in India, wherever we have gone, we have found the methodology used by years was to share incidents, rather than giving them a lecture. Subrata Bakshi's that narration. Even today, we will be in tears when we come to the last portion. So the lesson is, Papa used this technology. Observing things or with the Shraddha experience, not the superficial way. Experience comes from an attentive mind and then observing with keenness. These two things touch and kindle what is to be kindled inside. And later on, to corroborate whether it is right or wrong, whether it is a mental interpretation, you go to Shastras or you go to the teachings. Every now and then we check up whether it is there. Then we find, yes, in Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned. But not the other way. We learn Bhagavad Gita and then try to see, we try to look at that's it, the beautiful quotation. How many times we have repeated, the world we live in is a school in which observation and experience offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. Nay, the world itself is Guru or God. This observation and experience. So Papa's, when we say surrender, it is better to parade before our mind. Which of the incidents have touched and kindled this surrender aspect in us. And then we try to think more and more of it so that it becomes a part of our life. Otherwise, the risk is there. Surrender as explained by this saying, that saying, that we keep on memorizing it. And adding in our library, mental library, that's all. We remember one incident, yes. We have shared this in this evening sessions. There was one Swami, Parameshwaranand Maharaj, who was one among these 12 people who swam from the Cape Cod to the rock and stayed there until the project, Swami Vivekananda project was taken up. Sadhushil Parameshwaranand. I was leading a very humble, noble life. And later on he took the order of sannyas also. So he came here and he stayed with us for some time. He used to come. Once he came and stayed for I think more than a month. Somebody who is also equally spending his lifetime in writing the biographies of Mahatmas. He corrects the different, he goes to different places, corrects for the details, authentic details and puts it, he has got a good hand in Malayalam. He writes and brings it out in the form of books. Not commercial aspect, but still some expenditure is needed, that's all, beyond that nothing. A very nice person, young man. So he was he who brought this Parameshwar Swami here. And we were in Sadhana Kutir next room. One day, this young man was telling, see the glory of the divine name, chanting of the divine name, is to be propagated further, so that it reaches out to more and more. Immediately Swamiji Maharaj said, "Are you chanting?" Because there was no ego clash. Immediately he said no. Then he said, "You have to take up chanting, Then only you can authoritatively say." Suddenly, God made us to hear this, to warn us that knowledge, when it keeps on piling up, it has got a tendency to halt there, not involve ourselves in real practice. Somewhere we have to be alert. And Swamiji said, unless and until we taste that, some experience God will give us, either at the Vyavaharic level or at the spiritual level. And that will be the incentive for us to move forward. Then if we share that, it will have its own thrust, force on others. So if you really feel that the Nama chanting is one of the superb methods to lead a peaceful life, to lead a life of surrender to the Almighty, then we must practice. We were remembering Papa's words. The world we live in is a school in which observation and experience offer us immense possibility for self-improvement. And normally people will be reluctant to say on the face, whether you will get wounded or not. Neither the Swamiji thought, nor the other person thought. Immediately said, yes, you are right. We have heard about it, we have superficial idea about it, but we have no direct experience about it. So in Papa's case, when we say surrender is a very big word. So let us try to parade before our mind such of the incidents that have touched and kindled are interpreted to us, to our mind, that this is surrender. And that is why we remember. Yes, anything else?
Swamiji, our Puji Satyanandaji has said in the lectures of Swami Ramdas volumes 1 to 5 in Bhakti that our Papa is one of the rarest flowers of Indian spirituality. If so, Purinjai, Mullai, Parvar, Nihal, poor flowers or rat flowers. Which flower we can suit even Papa?
Either rarest flower, that is enough,
Thank you.
Shivaji Maharaj, an article which appeared in the Tasveek Ramdas previously, now it has been avoided. There, he said the Ananda Kutir and Anandashram have become one.
Yes.
That's the word he used. Puja Mataji, Amradandami Amma. Every month, we request some Mahatmas to give us some Ashirvachana for our videos. So this month, if those of you who have not heard, you may kindly read and for it. Play it. It must have been in the YouTube, and Shraddha has given the subtitles. Because Amma talked to us in Malayalam. There, how beautifully Amma has brought out Prabhupada here. In a touching way and in a casual way. He lived the life, So when we heard that, is immediately from our mind, that is why he lives in you. Because he lived the life, he still lives in you. It was not a life of an ordinary one. So the more we associate with the biography with such perspective, not for personal appreciation, emotional appreciation, sentimental appreciation, no. Initially it will be there. Later on it has to be transformed into a devotion. And when that comes to us, to a very great extent, that helps us. What all he stood for, one by one. We don't have time today, no? It must be there.
Yes, sir.
Can you bring it up? I have read out the English.
Translation,
It is there, sometimes it is there.
Yes,
You
sir.
have
1 second.
uploaded 3-4 days back.
Yes, sir.
All of you,
Essence of spirituality.
not essence of spirituality. Okay.
That only is there,
Yeah,
sir.
you are
It is
right.
there.
You are right. But every now and then I have to touch it. But every
No, once it will play.
The show is here.
Yes, sir.
You try. You please hold on. Head press. But it should be there. Slightly. Rely on the inner guru.
This I tried, sir. Screen is good. One minute, sir. Yes, sir. Big screen is there.
Mama's face. Must be that first.
First one must be clean.
In this someone is not there. I think the previous one. In the kitty.
For example, to revive it, we have to blow on the embers to remove the ash and restart the fire. Similarly, the embers of divinity are within us. Mantra japa is like blowing on those embers. Our mind can be awakened to the state of supreme awareness, in the state of God realization. We become aware that everything in the universe is a manifestation of supreme consciousness. We realize God consciousness is all that exists everywhere, and that nothing is separate from us. This was shown by Swami Ramdas through the example of his life. If there is a need to put a sign announcing sweet in front, is there any need? Sugar. It is up to others to adopt the path he lived and exemplified, and to bring it into the fruition in their lives. A seed will not sprout if it is there on earth. If it is buried, it surrenders like this. Saranagati, total acceptance, cannot sprout in us without breaking the shell of the seed, the ego. Only through Saranagati can our ego be removed completely. When you become Ujjela, you become the baby's entire world is his mother. Mantra japa chanting. it weakens the other. Sorry. Mantra Japa is an effortless path to recover and realize the divinity inherent in us. For example, to revive a dying fire covered with ash, we have to blow on the embers to remove the ash and restart the fire. No, yeah, blow by the. Mantra Japa is like blowing on those embers. When we do this, our mind can be awakened to the state of supreme awareness, in the state of God realization. We become aware that everything in the universe is a manifestation of the supreme consciousness. We realize God consciousness is all that exists everywhere and in everything, and that nothing exists without. In this way, universal love awakens. This was shown by Swami Ramdas through the example of his life. What can Amma say about Swami Ramdas? Is there any need to put a sign announcing sweet in front of a pile of sugar? It is up to others to adopt the path he lived and exemplified, and to bring it into the fruition. A seed will not sprout if we coddle it in our lap. It will only sprout if it is buried in the soil. Surrender is like that. Sharanagati is not like that. Cannot sprout in us without breaking the shell of the seed, the ego. Only through Sharanagati can our ego be removed completely. When you become a Kujaya, you become a Kujaya. When you become a zero, you become a hero. That is what Swami Ramdas showed us an example through his life. The sun does not need a candle to illumine its path. God needs nothing from us, but we should transcribe God's message into our life. We should try to become that as well. Tattvamasi, you have to awaken and arise Tattvamasi. That is when we also become role model to others. We live in a time when dharma is declining in the world. During such difficult times, it is only the life of presence and message of such great Mahatmas that maintain the universal harmony, at least to this extent. If we visit a coal factory, our clothes will become stained, even if we don't touch any coal. On the other hand, if we visit a perfume factory, our clothes will become pervaded with perfume, even if we have. In a similar way, anyone who has spent time with a Mahatma will experience the influence of their spiritual. The only requirement for this is that one's heart should be open. No matter how physically close one may be to a Mahatma, one's heart must be open to be influenced by them. Both Ravana and Hanuman were around Sri Rama. What did Hanuman do? Hanuman chanted Rama's name with complete surrender. In that Namajapa, Bhagavan became the servant of his devotee. This is this attitude. May every one of me like Hanuman like. May the grace of Paramatma bless everyone to attain this. Very good. Simple word, Malayalam. The Malayalam she has beautifully brought out, spontaneously enough. So as soon as we heard this, and we did not even go there, we had questioned to somebody, they were kind enough to record it. They were kind enough to record it and then send it here. And then the one thing which immediately after we heard is, he lived such a life, Mama said. That is why he still lives in us. And she talks about surrender. Today somebody raised that surrender, same surrender. And this we should not forget. A seed becomes sprout if we keep it on the palm of our hand. But the same seed, when it is put on the ground, a prepared ground, then it sprouts. So she says, the ego is the one, suppose we keep it in the palm, it will never sprout. Only by Sharanagati. Sharanagati can be had only when the me and mind is reduced. So many things, though it is a 10-minute or 5 minutes, full of sublime thoughts. So, Papa is now connecting up with our Mahatmas. First we had Swami Kudanavaji Maharaj, Second, we had Swami Jyotirmani Maharaj. Then Gobranji Maharaj, Vice President of Ramakrishna Mission.
Muralidhar Swamiji.
Muralidhar Swamiji. Devaki Ma. And now Mataji. So we are grateful to Papa. He made us to connect, and their wisdom teachings. It is not merely a talk. It is something that goes deep down in our heart. Not yet. Okay then, so let us continue this. From yesterday what we are finding is, Papa is taking us to the next stage. What does this interactive session mean? That means we go deep down and then we integrate with our thinking, our lifestyle, our sadhana, our self-imposed discipline and trying to bring it out in our own form. Everybody should join. Not only hearing, We will also share our thoughts, the process. But most importantly, one's own digging out. So he is taking us to the next stage. We are in the month of July. We have 4 or 5 months more. So during these 3-4 months, we will try to practice this interactive session. We will catch hold of one topic, and that topic, how it touches and kindles in us. And through episodes, through experience, through the wisdom teachings of others, we will try to understand it. A thrilling experience, electric atmosphere. Let us try to imbibe, we will understand more and more of Papa's words. And it gives an assurance that he is holding our hands and taking us from stage to stage. He is revealing so many things to us which were not at all clear to us. Initially he did not give us to have the clarity, but now he has also given us the clarity to see clarity. So that is up. Tomorrow and after tomorrow also we will have. Then there will be a break. So let us all do as much homework as possible. So that this prop is also slowly Papa will be trying, this 4 to 5 session. Temporarily. Because without that we must be able to continue, Otherwise, our sadhana will be dependent upon one external factor. What Satsang session. So our homework should go on. So probably with that idea he is giving us this periodic breaks. So let us all try to make use of it. Tomorrow please come to prayer with some more. Oh.
We are asked to walk without crutches.
Crutches are provided. And when you show the sign that you are walking, crutches will be definitely provided. 100%. He gives a mysterious way. Not enough. Not that it does not have any work, it has. But we should not exclusively bank upon this support. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om. Namaskar.